Do I want to watch why Chaebols are destroying South Korea? Yes, we love your South Korea rants. It still tilts me to this day that this video is still my most popular video. 140,000 views of me just calling South Korea dog shit. By the way, half the motherfuckers who watch this video,
ladies and gentlemen,
they're just commenting on this.
10.
This just made me love Korea even more. Extreme misogyny and racism and
Take a shot
competition,
for the
not
same
sarcasm,
shirt in each
especially
video.
misogyny. Those lesser
Drink.
beings don't deserve our rights. That is the craziest comment I've ever seen. Edgy 12-year-old. Wait, he's a Roblox Bed Wars player. Yep, this is about to do Mr. Beast, please. I think he's actually a 12-year-old. Oh, you might be. Oh,
September
boy.
5th, 2014. A Korean air flight on its way from New York City to South Korea returns to the gate. Screams and yelling can be heard coming from first class. What is going on? Hapchi. After taking her first class seat on the plane, Heather Cho, the daughter of the chairman of Korean Air,
this is a
was served
classic.
a bag of macadamia nuts. This enraged her. Why, she screamed, were these not plated for her? She screamed and confronted the cabin crew and then forced the chief flight attendant to kneel and apologize to her in front of everyone. Dissatisfied still, Heather decided the only rational thing to do was turn the entire plane around and leave the flight attendant behind in New York City. One bag of nuts, enough to delay an international flight and abandon a hard-working employee in a foreign country. But this isn't limited to Heather. Her sister, Emily Cho, threw a drink at an advertising executive during a business meeting in 2018.
I forget. These guys were all either children of the CEO of Samsung or Korean Air. I forget. I think it's Korean Air.
2017, Kim Dong-seon, the heir to the Hanwha Group and horse dandy, swung a whiskey bottle at bar staff several times.
Oh wait,
and
no, this
hit
is a different
the bar
family.
manager in the head, grabbing him by the
It's
back
a
of the
Korean Air
neck.
CEO. Oh, okay,
Shin
okay.
Dong-hak was caught drunk driving. Hanbo Steel's loan scandal. Kim Byung-jun attacking passengers in 2016. The list goes on and on and on. Korea, a democracy in name, is run by
Wait. I didn't know there were that many.
And on and on.
SK Group family member accused of brutal assault on employee. Chaebols' high-handedness causes crisis of ethics in South Korea. Namyang Dairy slapped with 1.3 billion won in fine. It's 12.3 billion won to USD. $8 million. Is that enough?
Korea, a democracy in name, is run by a small group of elite families called Chaebols. These Chaebols include the likes of Samsung, LG, Hyundai, SK, and Lotte. These five alone account for nearly 50% of Korea's GDP, placing it in a precarious situation where abuse is accepted and influence is unavoidable.
And the government
How
can't
did
do
this
shit.
happen? And what does this mean for Korea?
And the government,
This
if anything, bows down to them a lot of the times and gives them fucking ways out because they own too much of the country.
is Chaebols, the puppet masters of the morning calm.
Wait, you know what's hilarious? Morning Calm is the name of the of the flight group for Korean Air. Korean Air Morning Calm. It's called the Morning Calm Club Benefits.
Calm. Following the Korean War, South Korea was in a state of utter devastation. Its
This is
nascent
what America
industrial
aspires to
foundations
be?
were destroyed
America
and
wishes.
the economy was paralyzed. To rebuild the country, the Lee Syngman administration adopted a policy of import substitution, which focused on building Korean industry
Korea
to meet
is basically
Korean demand.
living the
These protectionist
those dystopian stories you see, kind of like Cyberpunk, where like corporations basically own your life, own the world. All right, that's basically it. Because the governments basically are like the government's still on top, but it's at the whims to the corporations. Like the government will like give them slap on the wrists just for like to stem public outcry, but that'll be it. They won't like actually punish him.
policies aided by foreign aid.
No different than the USA? I think that's not true. I don't think there's like specific family lines controlling 50% plus of the US GDP. No, chat, there's like 4 families in Korea that own 50% of the GDP of the country. You think there's 4 families in America that owns 50% of the US GDP? I don't think so. I think there's like a couple more. Like, I think there's like a private, probably a elite group of people, but I don't think it's like 4 families, you know? Walmart, BlackRock, Rockefeller. I think there's a bunch, you know, but like it's not 4, right?
Mainly from the United States, enabled entrepreneurs to set up shop and go competing without foreign interference. This included Samsung, whose founder got his start refining sugar and manufacturing wool textiles.
The GDP of the US is like
were growing,
that much better than Korea, so yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's still just a percent. We're working off percentages here, you know?
That the Chaebols saw their fortunes grow exponentially. Park had ambitious economic goals, and he was dissatisfied with the natural forces of economic growth laid out by traditional capitalism. He wanted to channel investment.
You're really
into
underestimating how centralized the world's wealth is? No, I think it is very centralized, obviously, right? Like, the world of wealth that some people live in is just something beyond anything we'll ever imagine as just you guys and me, you know? But, like, at the same time, I don't think it's like 3 people ruling America, right? And everything in America, right? Like, I don't think you guys understand, chat. When the last Samsung CEO was passing away, like, I'm telling you, chat, is there ever a time in the US where like one person is about to pass away and the entire business world is going into like fucking like crazy mode to try to figure out like what's gonna happen, you know? I don't think that happens. Like, it has to be like a bunch of people or a bunch of things happening, right? In Korea, when the previous CEO of Samsung was sick and was about to pass away, the entire fucking Korean market was like speculating like crazy, like who's gonna be the fucking next person, who's gonna take over, like is the government going to do anything different? Like that's the level we're talking here. Like one person passing away was going to change possibly the entire business market. That doesn't happen in the US, you're right? Like Elon Musk could pass away tomorrow and it's not gonna fucking suddenly be like, oh my god, the US economy's fucked. Like, that's not gonna happen, you know? I don't think so.
The only way he saw this was possible was to partner with
he doesn't know? Oh, shit.
to execute against his goals.
Isn't Samsung declining in Korea? Samsung's declining because they're fucking bums when it came to AI.
Into Chaebols to execute against
Samsung is like missed the mark a couple times on AI.
He nationalized commercial banks, enabling the government to channel scarce domestic and foreign capital to favor Chaebols. Moreover, the government often guaranteed the repayment of foreign loans to Chaebols, increasing capital access. This would be like the US pushing all funds to Tesla, Exxon, and Microsoft and disregarding any other businesses. Do we need to build more refining capacity? Send the money to Exxon. Do we need more cars? Send the money to Tesla.
Hey Fob,
do we want to lead
keep up
in
the
AI?
great streams.
Send the
Hope summer is going great.
Alright, thank you, Justin, for the 21. He's basically explaining here how, like, the Korean government basically created the problem that they have today, which is true. Like, I think it's an unfortunate result of rapid industrialization. This president really wanted South Korea to catch up and join, like, come into the modern age. And because of that, he pumped so much money into specific companies to really raise those, you know, industries hard and fast. And that's just obviously going to create giga monopolies. And I don't think at the time they thought that through about those giga monopolies, you know?
And Microsoft, and disregarding any other businesses. Do we need to build more?
It was a deliberate choice. They were copying the Japanese Zaibatsu model. Really? I don't know anything about that.
Do we want to lead in AI? Send the money to Microsoft. Furthermore, Korea provided these companies with subsidies, exclusive import licenses, tax breaks, and protection against foreign competitors.
Yeah, it solves one problem,
this was
but creates
on easy mode.
A massive
and
one.
Although it skirted traditional market mechanisms for capital allocation, it seemed to work. Exports in Korea grew from 55 million in 1962 to 835 million by 1970, a 16-fold increase in less than 10 years. GDP per capita increased from $106 to $279 during that same period, and then rapidly rose to $13,000 by 1996.
Jesus Christ!
This sounds great, but the economy became highly concentrated as Chaebols became too big to fail, and the founders began exhibiting behavior counter to efficient markets. They focused on political connections over operating efficiency. They diversified into disparate industries with little to no thought, and they started taking on crazy amounts of debt. due to government and banking support. This all came to a head in
What's up, bop, bop?
1997. The Asian financial crisis swept through Korea and the chaebol system began showing weaknesses. The top 30 chaebols had an average debt to equity of nearly 600%. To put this in perspective, the
Damn.
S&P 500 today has an average ratio of around 60%. Because of this, 11 of the 30 largest chaebols collapsed between July 1997 and June 1999, including the largest corporate bankruptcy in history at the time,
Oh, shit.
the Daewoo Group, with nearly $80 billion in unpaid debt, unheard of at the time. The head of Daewoo, Kim Woo-chong, fled Korea and left taxpayers holding the bag. He would later return to Korea and have his crimes pardoned. The international community and IMF
Classic Korea. Woo! Classic Korea, baby. Yes. That's like if Bernie Madoff just got pardoned and just was like, nah, you're good.
came swooping in, putting together a massive rescue package, but they had a few conditions.
What
For
happens
example,
to Gotcha
they
then when the wave dies?
Okay.
wanted increased managerial accountability, financial transparency, and governance, because according to them, one of the main reasons the Korean system failed was the opacity of the chaebol system. They wanted to make sure that the chaebols did not operate with their power unchecked. Fast forward to today, and it almost sounds
Damn,
like
look
a
at that
joke.
Lotte Tower, bro.
Since the rescue package, there have been tons of scandals related to chaebol corruption and lack of transparency. Samsung on 3 separate occasions for tax evasion and bribery. SK Group twice for embezzlement and corruption. Hyundai countless times for slush funds and bribery.
Can
Hanwha
you
for
stop saying
embezzlement.
Hyundai?
Lotte
It's
for corruption
Hyundai.
and bribery. And many, many, many more. In almost every case, charges are later dropped. It's so common for rich elites to get away with anything in Korea that there's actually a saying for it. The 3-5 rule. 3-year prison sentence that is suspended for 5 years. At the heart of the problem is the fact that chaebol ownership structures are extremely opaque and non-control investor influence is non-existent.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not just rich people, it's also politicians. Like, if you go through, like, presidents in South Korea as well, how many of them get fucking sent to prison and then just get pardoned right after by the next president? It's like, okay, man, like, what was the point? Like, all right, this president was corrupt as fuck, did all of this really fucked up shit, send him to jail, and the government's like, we heard you guys, we're sending them to jail. And then everybody's like, yeah, the people got what they wanted. And then the next president's like, and a pardon. And then everybody's like, wait a second, what? We just voted this guy in.
For 5 years. At the heart of the problem is the fact that chaebol ownership structures are extremely opaque and non-control investor influence is non-existent. This allows chaebols to do whatever they want within their sprawling industrial empires. It's so problematic that it has led to the Korea discount. This basically means that Korean stocks trade well below Japanese and Taiwanese peers on the same metrics. For example, if Samsung traded like its rivals, its value would double. But there is a very sound reason for this. Chaebols control everything and don't care about other shareholders. For instance, the chaebol Korea Zinc has been battling an activist shareholder recently. To maintain control, the chairman planned to sell $1.8 billion in share, which would damage shareholders but allow him to maintain control, harming others for personal benefit. The
Wow.
chaebol way. Similarly, other chaebols are known to conduct nefarious related party transactions. These are deals made between different companies that the families own. For example, if they own a poorly performing company, Company A, they might force a well-performing company, Company B, to purchase Company A for a high price. This happens all the time, enriching the family at the expense of other shareholders. And this is one of the main reasons why the Korean stock market is perpetually trading at a discount. Foreign investors do not trust the chaebols. Furthermore,
Yo, foreign investors are smart.
Koreans are starting to not trust the chaebols and have increasingly invested abroad. This has been such a problem that the Korean government began to introduce initiatives like the Corporate Value Up program.
You know, honestly though, it isn't that bad. The Samsung stock has not been that bad. It's been just on the up and up. Wow, what happened on July 25th? Holy God. Something happened this weekend where they basically gained $5 How's the won? Ooh, ooh. we're approaching all-time low soon. Well, I can't see all-time low because I can't go beyond, but we're looking at 2009 financial crisis points soon. Oh God.
This program encourages listed companies to improve shareholder value and corporate governance. This sounds great in practice, but it's 100% voluntary. Another reason for the discount is that Chaebols benefit from it. In the case of listed company owners, inheritance tax is effectively 60%, and low valuations and opaque structures enable them to skirt tax liabilities. These Chaebols operate with pure impunity, but the problem isn't simple.
Wasn't this the most recent president who got impeached? I'm pretty sure this is the most recent president that tried to do military or martial law. Yeah.
Pure impunity, but the problem isn't simply corruption.
Yeah, he
It's
tried to
sheer
attempt a
economic
coup.
dominance. To show how
Bro, I don't know
lopsided
what
Korea
it is with
we
South
will
Korean
compare it with the
presidents.
United States.
It's like an
As of
80%
2024,
success
Korea's
rate
top
of them
30
being dog
companies'
shit.
revenues accounted for
Or doing some
77% of
crime.
total GDP. Compare this to the United States, where the top
One of your presidents
500
is in a
companies
cult,
account for
yeah.
66% of GDP.
She was in a cult. She trusted a shaman for tons of fucking decisions she was making, and the shaman basically controlled her. And then one of the biggest like naval incidents in South Korea involving citizens with a Sewol, I think, ship, right? She just sat around talking to the shaman and didn't do anything to send out National Guard to help them. And then, like, tons of fucking kids died in that incident. And all of this together, she got sent to prison for. And the next president pardoned her. What's the fucking point, man? Like, there's literally no point. Like, you could just, you get voted as president in South Korea, you just do every evil thing. Just become evil. Just do everything that you want to do. And then, like, what's the worst that could happen? You just get fucking pardoned, you know?
GDP. That is 2.6% per company versus 0.1% per company. A
You're right, I was the
26-fold
shaman.
difference. But it gets worse. Approximately 58% of Americans work for companies with over 300 employees. In Korea, this number is 14%. This means that a small number of companies control the market, and only a small number of the population benefits from it, an inverted pyramid of privilege. This has extreme consequences. Firstly, given such a small number of large Korean enterprises control the entire market, small-medium enterprises have few alternatives for companies to sell into. This creates significant negotiating leverage on the part of the Chaebols. For example,
This is why I think, still to this day, a lot of Koreans are really trying to get out of fucking Korea. Because Korea just, like, is one of those countries where, as a citizen, you just don't feel like you're gonna succeed in the country, you know?
after Hyundai acquired a majority stake in Kia, they controlled between 70 to 80% of the domestic car market. As such, they began instituting aggressive contracting policies. For one, they forced suppliers to exclusively supply Hyundai Kia.
I did not know Hyundai bought Kia. But that would make sense as to why Kia stopped making ugly fucking cars. I swear to God, Kia used to make the most ugly bastard cars ever. But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, no one else. They introduced clauses that allowed them to see into supplier cost structures, allowing them to squeeze margins.
Yeah,
And worst
Kia
of all,
started looking
they
a lot
leveraged their
more like
power to
Hyundai
understand
cars. They
supplier
did.
technologies
After
so
a
that they
certain
could
point, and
appropriate
I
them
didn't
and
know
cut
that
out
it was because
suppliers.
they got bought out.
And since Chaebols control the market, small and medium-sized enterprises do not litigate these practices in fear of retaliation.
Hey, Kia
But
and
this
Hyundais
isn't
do
limited
look
to
pretty
Hyundai.
good.
Samsung demands detailed
Kia's
technical
used to look
disclosures as a
terrible.
precondition for contracts. This allows them to copy ideas and eventually cut out SMEs. Lotte faced criticism for forcing small suppliers to participate in promotional events at their own expense. And this isn't necessarily illegal, it's just the benefit of consolidation. For those who don't know, consolidation is the dream of businesses. Peter Thiel, successful investor and entrepreneur, discusses this all the time.
That was back in
If you
1998?
can't have a monopoly, what's the point?
Damn, never
Once
mind,
you
Kia was
have
just
one,
shit, I
you
guess,
call
for
all
the whole
the shots.
time.
Furthermore, this extends into labor practices. As mentioned, large Korean enterprises employ a small fraction of the Korean economy. However, they pay nearly 60% more than small medium-sized enterprises. This means that these SMEs have a hard time attracting talent. To make matters worse, the Chaebols are hiring less than before, and although they've been growing, it's been jobless growth. Korea saw a decline in new jobs for the 11th straight quarter. This has been particularly tough on young people, with Korea having the highest unemployment rate for those in their 20s in the entire OECD, with Korea having the highest unemployment rate for
what is OECD? Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia. So it has like, it has the US, UK, Japan, Germany, Greece, Luxembourg, Sweden, Switzerland, a lot of these countries. Yeah, it seems like they're mostly first world countries. So amongst all the first world countries, we have the highest unemployment rate in those aged 25 to 29. That's not good. Aren't people aged 25 to 29 supposed to be like that age range where you should be like figuring out where you're gonna settle for like employment?
For those in their 20s in the entire OECD, with nearly 20% unemployed. Korean labor laws have extremely high protection for those who work in chaebols, meaning that those who have been employed for a long time are highly unlikely to leave or be fired. Now, this might sound like a good thing, but it means that as chaebols continue to slow down hiring, it disproportionately impacts young people. And this doesn't even begin to mention the impact that chaebols have on working hours, which we talk about in our
average annual hours worked in Korea, 5th highest, with 1,900 hours. In United States is at 1,791. Where's Japan on this list? I don't even see Japan here. They got bad overtime.
Have on working hours, which we talk about in our award-winning video on Korea's demographic collapse. When a few companies control your economic future, you have no choice but to work. And the saddest part is, this is almost unfixable.
Yeah, it is. I swear, almost every single one of those videos criticizing South Korea, almost all of them basically say all of South Korea's problems are unfixable. Unless, like, and I've talked about this to other people actually as well, whenever we discuss South Korea, and it's like, I legitimately think the only way to fix South Korea is a societal, like, collapse and restructuring. Like, you need to destroy the whole system and rebuild it. Like, the system is unfixable.
When large systems become entrenched, they become too big to fail and too fragile to fix. And the Korean chaebol system is as entrenched as they come. If politicians campaign on reform, the chaebols will use their power to crush them and make them unemployable outside of politics. If law firms want to take cases against chaebols, then they will never be able to serve the chaebol again, who generate the bulk of revenue in the country. If universities and professors want to publish papers
it's a common take that
the
new learners take. Honestly, be wary of that view angle. I mean, I legitimately don't see how you fix this. Because it's not just this. We're talking about South Korea in its totality. You have low to some of the lowest birth rates in the world. You have some of the highest suicide rates in the world. You have some of the highest unemployment rates in the world. You have, help Lily? Wait, what happened? So, low birth rate, some of the highest suicide rates, some of the highest unemployment rates, wealth owned, pretty much top 0.00001% own like majority of the wealth in the entire country. The government is subservient to corpos, right? Like, and then not even any of this stuff, right? Just talking about like the social atmosphere of South Korea, perfection.
Damn, this is wild.
Perfection is rated better than like anything else, right? Beauty is just like above everything else. Plastic surgery, dirt cheap. Nobody's fucking natural. Obviously, there are lots of people who are natural, but like they literally do like buy one get one free or like 50% off discounts if you're fucking you're turning 16 years old. You know, you have the K-pop industry that's pumping and churning out and scouting every fucking 10 to like 12-year-old to put them into the industry factory of churning out like new K-pop groups, constantly boy bands and girl bands, and then there's tons of fucking abuse and like, yeah, it's fucking dog shit. Like, you take all of this, how do you fix this? And then there's like a ton of other things I haven't even mentioned. The like old people. Old people, pretty much like, there's like dog shit pension system. Old people, you pass a certain age, 50 years old, question mark? fired. So, like, it's not even just the young people. The old people get fucked, too. The young people get fucked, too. Nobody wants to have kids because fucking society is so shit over there, right? So, like, new kids aren't even being born as often. How do you fix any of this and all of this at the same time? Yeah, just saying that hard shit takes work. Novices want quick answers, and many times the quick answer costs more than the hard answers, both in time and in money. No, but I think the issue is the people who can find the answers and need to do the work to find the answers are right here, and none of them want to fix this. Because fixing all of this for the government and the wealthy means they stop being wealthy. Like, it costs money. It will lose the wealthy money. It will lose the wealthy control. The government will lose more of that control as well. Like, you're asking the groups, right, that are the most corrupt in Korea to fix the problem because they're the ones that have the ability to fix it. But they're the last people that want to fix it, you know? Asking? Sorry. Demanding. But, like, listen, if you know anything about South Korea City Hall protests. Like, this shit is happening every other day. Nothing changes, man. This is literally every other day in Korea. Like, you go to Shincheon, you go to Seoul, you go to City Hall, you go to anywhere, and this is happening almost every fucking weekend. It's not gonna it doesn't do anything. Common people don't fucking matter.
They will receive less funding from the biggest donors.
Legit think in 100 years Korea won't exist? That's the yeah. So they have a video. Yeah. This video literally, like, what is the estimate that South Korea will essentially at its current projected rate will be basically gone in the next 100 years? Oh, see, here's the pension fund. Yep, the pension fund's gone in 2060, bro. It's over. The youth, the old people, everybody's dead, man. So here's the projection on the current birth rate and where South Korea is going. By yeah, I mean, give it 100 years, South Korea at this rate will be gone. Korea will be replaced by Malays and Filipino and Indians. Is it true that Koreans have the smallest of peepees? I think on average it's one of the smallers. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember the full penis size chart, but
if the news wants to criticize the Chaebols, they will lose market access and investors. And if
oh, I forgot a major part of this, chat. I forgot a major part of this. Porn is banned. And you know, it makes you think, maybe this is the cause of all this. Maybe there is a correlation to a happier society if porn isn't banned. Don't forget the gender war. Oh my god, I didn't even put the gender war. Right? There's a massive gender war that's been raging in Korea forever. This is just another part of it. There's no gender war. Oh, okay. If you say so.
And if someone tries to break up the Chaebols, workers will be upset, worried that Korea might go into a downward spiral. No matter how you cut it, Korea's Chaebol situation is almost unfixable. Layer on the fact that Korean culture is one of collectivism, it is hard to imagine a movement arising against their foundational economic engines. Korea is what happens when monopolies take hold, when family wealth and power goes unchecked. And although we believe in capitalism, we want to highlight how working class people have been taken advantage of for decades in Korea. Koreans are hardworking and kind people, but their country is being run by unanointed kings and queens. The Chaebols control the factories, the roads, the ports, the banks, the law firms, and the government. The heirs were born with a gold spoon in mouth and nicely plated macadamia nuts. They did not build Korea, but they will destroy it. And like they say, what is a mob to a king to a god, and a god to a Chaebol? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe, check out our other videos,
How China launched a new industrial revolution. Is this gonna give me social credit before I go to China if I watch this? Plus 50. What created a gender war in Korea? Please clarify. I think most parts of the world that probably don't have gender equality at this point, like built in to their like society, is probably just like leftovers from like older cultural, like legacy cultural things that have existed for like centuries, you know, or like millennia even. And it's just like lingering, you know, built in. Yeah. Sort of. It's kind of what the answer is, because of Confucianism. I think Confucianism does have a part of it. Yeah, it does. That's why I'm saying, like, I think a large part of it has to do with like just East Asian culture. It'll take like a cultural revolutions to like completely upend that. It'll be hard. Japan faces the same issues, but not on South Korea scale. It's cooked over there. I don't know. I think the thing is Japan does face a lot of the same issues. It's just Japanese people are maybe more politer, so like it isn't as loud and brash as like what the fuck's happening in South Korea. I don't know if Japan has like these massive, huge scale protests as often as South Korea does. I'm not saying Korean people aren't polite, right? That's not what I'm saying. They definitely are. Actually, they're polite to foreigners. Koreans aren't polite to each other. Yeah, let's say that. Well, okay. No, let me say this. Koreans are polite to foreigners that they're agreeable with. If you look like a scary foreigner actually no, I think it's been more normalized nowadays actually. I think what I'm saying is a bit more archaic, like back in the day. I think Korea's gotten a bit better. Obviously it still exists. Like a little bit of xenophobia still exists, but like I think it's gotten much better. Do they like Asian foreigners? Depends where you are. Because 100% there are Koreans that if you are from Southeast Asia, they'll consider you like a third world country person. Like 100%, they will. If you're from like Southeast Asia, they will treat you like a lesser being. 100%. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm talking about like the fucking just like uneducated pigs. All right, like there's a lot of Koreans who are very welcoming, very nice, but they're the uneducated pigs, right? They're the ones that will treat you like that. I say this example every time, right? When Lily asked her friends or cousins or whoever it was, about where she was staying in Korea last year, and they were like, "Oh, that place is really dangerous," and they were only saying that because that place is known for having a lot of Chinese Koreans. That was the only reason they said it was dangerous. Because they're not Koreans and they're Chinese Koreans. All right. It's the same reason my grandmother was so against my dad marrying my mom, because she's Chinese Korean. Right? My grandmother deemed her to be like a lesser person. And for the longest time, my mom had to deal with like so much shit coming from my dad's side of the family because her side was Chinese. It's like that. I don't think it's as bad now. I think Korea has gotten much better about foreigners, but I would not doubt it if you as a foreigner from those countries would probably still experience something like that. It still happens. It's like, I wouldn't say you wouldn't experience it. It still happens, but it's like probably a lot less frequent. It's always the old people. Oh no, 100% it's a lot of the old people. It's 100% a lot of the old people. It's usually the old people or the young people. I think people in their like late 20s to 30s are like usually the best about this stuff, but it's like the old people or the really young people that are. It's for sure a lot of the times the old people, yeah. Young people are definitely taught racism low-key and they feed it on to generations. That's why I'm saying it's the old people and really young people, okay? Because the old people perpetuate it and the really young people learn it from the really old people, but then haven't experienced the world and wisened up enough about it to have their own opinions. And then that's why I'm saying the people who are like late 20s to early 30s are the best about it, because they've gone through it and experienced it, and most of the smart people have wisened up and learned like what's appropriate or not and are better about it. But it's usually those two extremes of the age gap that are the worst. Like what I'm saying, I don't think it's a Korea only thing. I feel like it applies to almost every Asian country or a lot of Asian countries, just because I think generally, I think a lot of Asian countries are, they're monoculture societies, you know? They're not really diverse societies built with tons of, tons of different cultures and people. So it's just natural that foreigners are going to be treated differently. So at the end of the day, chat, I am Korean. I would love my country to stop being a steaming pile of shit, but who knows when that'll happen.